So businesses are amazing a vast amount of data, from customer interactions and market trends to internal operational metrics. However, the wealth of data often sits underutilized, locked away in silos, overwhelmed by complexity or by sheer volume. The result, missed opportunities from untapped revenue potential. That poses the lingering question: how can we convert this data into a tangible monetary value? Today, I will show you how you can use modern data strategies to unlock the potential of your organization's data. I am Madhu Busa, a solution architecture leader, work with nonprofits to enable their mission outcomes. So our agenda is divided into three topics, three categories: how you build the data products, how you can monetize those data products, and the role of modern data architecture in achieving these goals. Each is crucial in understanding the full spectrum of data monetization. Data is growing exponentially. In 2022 alone, an estimated of 106 zettabytes of data was created and replicated. But here is the catch. 68% of those companies still struggling to extract value from their data. Only 28% have data strategy in place. So you see that this slide underlines or underscores the urgency of monetizing your data. Let's take a look at what are the methods of monetizing your data. Data can be both a direct and indirect source of revenue. It's an asset, like any other physical equipment that you may have, requiring regular maintenance. It can be transformed to produce higher value. Data monetization comes in two flavors, right? One is a direct, and other one is the indirect. About 1/3 of companies today have begun generating external revenue from their data. However, many are successful in using data for internal operations, such as optimizing supply chains, improving customer service. You may be hearing there's a new paradigm, insights monetization. By leveraging customer data, your operational insights, new monetization opportunities emerge, such as expanding into new markets or creating new services. Let's take a look at how we can build and monetize your data products with AWS modern data architecture. So what is a data product? Data product has three different dimensions. One, usability. Can it solve an end customer problem? Two, viability. Does it have a commercial potential? And then last but not least is feasibility. Can it be technologically achievable? So the key point is the overlap between all three dimensions. That's where you would build and monetize your data product. As an example, US climate flood risk data. This is aggregated data of national and property level adjusting for the flood risk model. So it's a risk assessment of the climate for a certain properties where institutions can use to assess the risk factor for a given asset. So what are the examples of data products? Right? Dashboards and reports. These are the visual representation of data that can help understand key metrics and trends. Data APIs, application programming interface to allow exchange of data between software systems or between producer and consumer. Data collection and indexing. This involves gathering the data from various sources, up to organizing it in such a way that you can quickly receive and analyze. And last but not least is ML model as a service. So build your data model, machine learning model, and then you can monetize the model itself. So what is the role of modern data architecture on AWS? To build data products, the foundational aspect should be a modern data architecture. This enables integration of data from various sources and provides a backbone to answer critical questions an end user may have. A modern data architecture acknowledges there's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Your architecture should be flexible enough to integrate data from various sources, transform the data, and then finally create actionable insights that end users may be looking for. You may have heard from, in today's keynote from Adam, right? Again, the modern data architecture has 3 different aspects. One, integration, a comprehensive set of services, and then finally the governance. So here you see a data lake in the center and surrounded by data warehouses and other purpose-built services, and then you can move the data either with the integration services or zero ETL features that were recently announced. And then finally, you govern the data using Amazon Data Zone or AWS Lake Formation. Let's take a look at a few data products reference architectures. Here you see a dashboard as a service. You can, again, use the zero ETL features that are available, or may have to move the data if one of the data sources is not supported. Move the data to the Redshift. In this case, here you have operational data store in Amazon Aurora. You can use the zero ETL features to make it data available on Redshift, and then you can use the Amazon QuickSight to generate insights, and then you can share that to your customers. Data API as a service. So this is the one where you can provide the programmatic access to the data that your organization provides in a secure, manageable, and scalable way. Your customers can interact with data without having to deal with the complexities of underlying storage and retrieval mechanism. One of the examples I can cite is a person enrichment API, which is designed to provide a demographic, professional, and other details about a person. So you can embed, your customers can embed such services in their workflow. What are the various flavors of data APIs, right? One is a REST API, REST data API. There are 2 flavors within the REST data API. One is a data warehouse approach on your left, and other one is a data lake approach on your right. So either A, you can use the zero ETL features to make your operational data available to your Redshift and then power your APIs using that data. Or B, you can use a data lake to power your data and make it available through an API gateway to your end customer. So let's say your consumers requires access to the data in scale, and they prefer something other than HTTP API. So what is the option? The option for that is an SQL data API. This is where the case we have a large volume of data that needs to be ingested your consumers or your customers. An example I could cite here is a genomic data linked with the clinical data, and that can be used in the healthcare analysis and research. As you see here, the data from Redshift is made available, again, in a both clustered consumer cluster as well as silo cluster, and made available to your end consumer using a row-level security model. Let's take a look at another pattern, analytics as a service. So it's more about a behavior analytics, knowing when your customers interact with the promotional content. That can generate and value that if you know the customer behavior, you can create new products around that or new recommendations on that one. Typically, you can use Amazon Kinesis and Amazon OpenSearch for real-time analytics. And then last but not least is the ML model as a service. So for those who lacking in-house machine learning experience, Amazon Personalize can use to deliver customized product recommendations. Combined with your user behavioral data, this can provide personal insights of further monetization opportunities. As an example, personalized messaging, personalized ad targeting, and personalized product recommendations. So how AWS Data Exchange can help in data monetization? AWS Data Exchange makes it easy to find and subscribe to a third-party data in the cloud. You as a data producer can monetize by publishing your product in Data Exchange. This benefits both subscribers as well as data providers. AWS Data Exchange helps data providers monetize their infrastructure for the data storage, delivery, billing, and entitlement. Providers can leverage AWS to experiment, build, and deliver data products to their customers. It removes the undifferentiated heavy lifting. You as a provider can build your products while delegating or moving the heavy lifting to AWS Data Exchange for the entitlement, like who has access to what data. for billing aspects of it, and then as well as the payment aspects of it. So there are 5 different flavors that AWS Data offers. One is around ingesting your files that you have to AWS Data Exchange for data files, or AWS Data Exchange for Amazon S3. So let's say you have data files in your on-premise systems or AWS, you can make this as a product and they can publish it. And second is around querying the tables. There are 2 flavors in that one. One is around you can make your data that's available in Redshift available to your data consumers from the Redshift, and as well as the data on your data lake using the lake formation. So by providing the data from the lake formation, your consumers or your customers can access the data without building an ETL pipelines and then enabling them to get to the insights in a time to insights in the fast way. And the last but not least is around the APIs. So with the data exchange for APIs, they can use the same authentication authorization model that they use for AWS services. So there is no need to integrate any other IDP to consume this data APIs. So what are other data providers are saying? As you see here, we have 3 partners who are publishing their data. They're scaling their data assets using data exchange. As an example, Foursquare, again, it reached the new customers at scale in the cloud. Their revenue increased or tripled over the year in 2021. And similarly, the FactSet, I mean, they expand the expansion of the data to management services to support the data exchange. Again, they streamline the whole process of building and creating and then make it available to their consumers. So what are your key takeaways? Start treating data as an asset. I mean, it may require the regular maintenance. It may have to, you may have to transform to generate a higher value to maximize, again, all with the goal to maximize the data value that you may have. You may want to explore the modern data architecture to help you build and monetize the data products. And then finally, modernize your data selling, right? How you sell and how you data with the AWS Data Exchange. So how do you get started? 1A, start with small. Create an experimental small project. See what data assets you may have, and then see if it fits the need of the 3 dimensions that we talked about: usability, feasibility, and then is it technically achievable, right? And then once you have that, create the product, and then use the AWS Data Exchange to publish that to your consumers. And then finally, if you need help, I mean, there is plenty of help. Our partners can help. Professional services, your account SE as well can help you to get you started with these things. With that, thank you very much.